What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be talking about 8 tips to make you a great quarterback this season. These are going to be 8 tips that you probably have not heard before, so I hope this is able to help you out. Let's get started. Now, tip number 1, you guys, has to start with reading coverages and reading defenses. The mental side of the game is so important for quarterbacks because you could have all the physical traits in the world, but if you don't know how to read a defense, don't know where to put the ball, all those physical traits are for nothing, you guys. So, tip number 1 is have a pre-snap process when you come up to the line of scrimmage. What is a pre-snap process? Why do we need to have one? It's simply to determine what coverage the defense is in so you know where their weaknesses are, so the play that you're running can attack that defense accordingly. So the pre-snap process I like, and some people have different processes. You've heard Aaron Rodgers talk about how he looks at the box first rather than the secondary. Me personally, I do the opposite. And again, some quarterbacks like it the other way too. So it's really not necessarily a one-size-fits-all, but you need to have a process. So come up to the line, I'm looking at the safeties. How many of them? How is their stance? Are they close? Are they deep? Are they wide? I'm trying to determine all those things. Look at the corners. Are they off? Are they press? Are they 5 yards away? Are they looking at me? Are they looking at the receiver? Then I look to the box. Is it a 4-3? Is it a 4-4? Does it look like they're bringing pressure? What are they doing? Then based off of all that, and it's a very quick process, it needs to happen faster than how I'm breaking it down, I determine what the coverage is. Now, let's say, for example, we have a cover 2 defense, okay? So I come up, I see 2 high safeties, both wide outside the hash. Look at the corners. Corners are pressed up, outside leverage looking at me. 4-3 defensive front. Let's say I got a simple play. Double slants on the left, slant bubble on the right. I don't like the slant bubble because the outside linebacker could take the slant, corner sits in the flats, takes the bubble. So I know I'm throwing the double slant side. I look over here, linebacker runs at the inside slant, throw the outside slant. That's how fast that process needs to go. And if you can nail that down, you will be more successful on the field. Now, tip number 2 is going to help you tremendously in a live game situation, and that's just focusing on doing your job and taking it one play at a time. A lot of times in the offseason, quarterbacks focus a lot on their mechanics, which is good because it's the offseason, right? You're thinking about your foot strike, you're thinking about your hip rotation, you're thinking about your follow through, all those things you can think about when it's a controlled environment. It's just you and a quarterback coach, you and a receiver, you can think about those little intricacies of the position. But when you're in a game situation, it's impossible to think about those things and to think about what your read is, the pre-snap process, and throwing an accurate ball. So what I only want you guys to worry about when you're in full pads 11 on 11 is pre-snap process, what's my read on the play, and delivering an accurate ball. And after that play, you move on to the next play and what your job is on the next play. Let's say the next play is a run play, right? Because it's either going to be a pass play or a run play. Next job is a run play. Okay, what's my job? Hand the ball off in the right gap, carry out my fake. That's all you were thinking about. If you can laser focus on just what your process is, what your job is on each play, I feel like your performance will be better in a live game situation. Forget about the mechanics, forget about that type of stuff. You should have been doing that work in the offseason. Now it's time to focus on what your job actually is as a quarterback within your offense. Now, fellas, before we get into the rest of this video, if you're a quarterback or wide receiver watching this and you would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches this upcoming offseason, go to that very first link in the description below. We just released the next 15 states that we are going to be traveling to for our 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camps. This is our 4th year doing our tour across the country where we go to 15 different states. So we're excited to come to a city near you. So again, guys, very first link in that description below is where you can sign up. And again, we're going to be coming out to San Francisco, California. After that, Orlando, Florida. Then we head out to Phoenix, Arizona, Columbia, South Carolina, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Seattle, Washington, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Nashville, Tennessee. Then after that, we'll be coming out to Austin, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Denver, Colorado. After that, we'll be heading out to Columbus, Ohio, Boston, Massachusetts, Salt Lake City, Utah, and finishing it off in Los Angeles, California. So guys, you want some more information, you want to sign up, go to that very first link in the description below. All of our camps last year sold out 2 to 3 months in advance. So we had a camp in like March, it was already sold out in January. So guys, make sure you take advantage of us having open spots. That's why we were releasing it super far in advance. So again, guys, very first link in that description below. We'd love to see you there. Now, tip number 3, you guys, is more so again for the mental side of the game, and that is don't let the play result dictate your emotions. So this is something that I really struggled with as a player when I was much younger, is that like my mood and how I felt about myself as a quarterback was like predicated on if I had a good performance or a bad performance. And I really want you guys to focus on taking that play by play. So as a quarterback, you got to stay even keeled. You are in a leadership position whether you like it or not. Every single single person on the field, offense and defense, looks at you as the leader of the team because you're the quarterback, whether you like it or not. If you don't like that pressure, this position is not for you. If you love that pressure, you're in the right spot, right? And so it's like, you cannot let yourself get down, because that brings literally everybody on the team down. You can't let yourself get too high either, because that means when bad things happen, and bad things are inevitable, you're gonna throw a bad pass, you're gonna throw a pick six. It happens to everybody. It happens to the greatest players of all time. They make bad throws. Like if you watch that quarterback series on Netflix, we saw Kirk Cousins make some awful throws, but he's one of the freaking 20 best quarterbacks in the entire world, you guys. So it's like, it happens to everybody, but you can't let yourself get too high on the good stuff, because that's when the bad stuff brings you way, way, way down. Nobody wants to make mistakes, but you either have a successful play and then you move on to the next, or you have an unsuccessful play, you learn from it, then you move on to the next, because that's the attitude you need to have. See, like my problem was I was always kind of a very like emotionally fired up player, right? And so I would throw a touchdown pass, get super excited, fired up, go to the sideline, I'm super high. The next drive we come out there and then I snap the ball and then I throw a pick. And then I go to the sideline, I'm pissed off because I'm letting how I feel about myself as a player be dictated by the results. You should have confidence in your ability, know that you're a good quarterback, and understand that bad things are going to happen sometimes. So if you just stay one play at a time, like we talked about earlier, don't let the play result dictate how you feel, you're going to be totally fine. So just make sure you take that advice with you this season. Now fellas, tip number 4 is that you need to be a film junkie when it comes to practice film, game film, and the film of the team that you are getting ready to play if you have access to it. So me personally, I'm going to give you kind of how I broke down film when getting ready for a team that I was going to play. So like, let's say like, you know, like Friday night we play a game, and then, you know, like a Saturday you go into the office, like the coach's office, and you watch film, you go over the film from the night before, and then, you know, after you watch the film, you're on to the next opponent that you play. Let's say it's like week 5, right? So that was week 4, getting ready for week 5, right? You should probably have like 2 to 3 games of film that you have exchanged with other teams or something of that nature, to where you know what that team is like generally running. You've seen how they've played, you understand like what the defense they're doing is. So let's say we have 3 games, right? So Saturday, Sunday, I would watch all 3 of those games like 2 times through. So I'd play it all the way through, I'd watch it, take notes. Then what I would do is I would take game by game. This would usually be on Sunday. On Sunday, I would go, okay, game 1. Every single play, I'm writing down notes. I'm writing down what their top coverages are, who their best players are. I'm making notes. Now I do that for the second game. Then I do that for the third game. And then it's really just repeating the process. Monday comes around, you have practice, you film the practice film is uploaded. Okay, I would watch the practice film. This is what I did well today. This is what I did bad today. This is where I need to improve. And then I would rewatch game 1. And then on Tuesday, I'd rewatch game 2. Then on Wednesday, I rewatch game 3. Thursday, I would watch all 3 games. It's kind of like prepping myself the night before the game. And then all those days, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm also watching practice film. So you get in that groove. You understand that watching film is just purely repetition. You're trying to understand what the team is doing, so you can be on the same page as your coaches. And if you're on the same page as your offensive coordinator, your head coach, whoever's calling plays, as a quarterback, you're going to feel more confident, because at least you guys are thinking the same, you're seeing the same things out there, and that will help you honestly get a better relationship with your coaches, because they'll see how dedicated you are. And if you guys are on the same page, that obviously is going to improve your chemistry. Now, tip number 5, you guys, is going to be more of a mechanical tip, and this is going to help you guys get a quicker release as a quarterback. And that's going to be being preloaded in your base in the pocket when you're going through progression. So what happens is, like, a lot of quarterbacks are very, very good on the first read. So let's say the play concept is like a post wheel, and the post is my first read, right? So what I would take is like a 3-step drop. So it'd be 1, 2, 3. If he's open, I'm good. I can throw it because I'm right in rhythm. A lot of quarterbacks break down when the first read isn't there and they got to go to their second read. This is what happens. 1, 2, 3, it's not there. Okay, I'm going to look to the second read, and they stand up, they get tall, they're out of their base, and then, okay, I'm going to throw the second read, and then they get back to their base. But that little hinge right there takes too much time. Having a quick release is the name of the game. Getting rid of wasted motion is the name of the game when it comes to getting the ball out of your hands as a QB. So you got to stay preloaded. And this is something you should practice in practice during drill work in practice, where, okay, I'm looking at the first read. When I go to my second read, I'm staying in the same base, so I could just separate and throw. I don't have to load up, because that load up takes extra time, and that's why a lot of you quarterbacks have a slower release. So fellas, tip number 6 is when moving in the pocket, make sure that you keep your weight loaded on your back leg. Mechanically, I think we all know this, especially if you watch this channel. We talk about this a lot, is that you want your weight loaded back onto your back leg. You want to be nice and light on your front foot, so you could transfer that weight, but also so your shoulders can rotate back and your hips can rotate before the arm, creating this like whipping effect, which helps with velocity and taking pressure off the arm. Now, when guys move in the pocket, especially when they're moving to the left if they're a right-hander, or to the right if they're a left-hander, is that that they'll be here, they'll be in their base, and then when they move this way, they go like this. And they move their right foot first. Dumps all the weight onto your front foot, you guys, so you're either gonna reset to get back, or you're gonna throw from a mechanically inefficient base. We're gonna be throwing almost like a pitcher coming off of a mound. Do not move with just the back foot first. Guys, end of the day, it's really not about what foot moves first. Can you get the hell out of the way, and can you throw an accurate ball? That's really what it matters. And can you throw the accurate ball on time, right? So more often than not, to throw an accurate ball, you got to have your weight back. I think we all can agree with that mechanically. So when you move in the pocket, like think of it like this. If I'm standing in the street over there and a car's going 80 miles an hour, it's going to run me over. Am I really worried about what foot moves first? No, I just got to get the hell out of the way. So I don't care what foot moves first. I just need you to be in a good base to get the ball out. So you're here. If it's both feet at the same time, cool. But if I can throw from a good base to be able to rotate my shoulders, to be able to transfer my weight, to get my hips to rotate through, that's the name of the game. So that's what I want you to focus on with pocket movement this season as a quarterback. Now, tip number 7, you guys, is going to be practice arm angle throws as a QB. So what do I mean by that? I mean like throwing around people. So like this is something that you guys can do while you're warming up with other quarterbacks, with other receivers, just to get in the groove of this, because you're going to be faced with this at some point. There's going to be a time where you're in the pocket. You're going to have a drag route, a check down, a slant. There's going to be a guy in your face, and jumping over the dude to throw isn't going to work. A normal release is going to get batted down. So what you might have to do is you might have to throw around the guy. So you got to practice those types of throws. And the best way to practice it is just work on changing your posture a little bit when you throw. Like if I want to throw around this camera right here, I don't want to stand tall and like manually try to do this, because I have not much control doing that. What I would like to do is I'd like to lean forward just a tad. So when I throw, my arm slot is a little bit lower and I could get it around the object or the person in front of me. So practicing those types of throws will make you more consistent and an actual game situation, because there are many arm slots that require to play at the quarterback position. I'm not a fan of always having a low arm slot. That's not necessarily something that I teach, but I do think it's something that you should practice given the situation. Now, tip number 8, fellas, is going to be for that deep ball throw. This is what everybody asks me about. How can I be more consistent on my deep throws? How can I get more distance on my deep throws? And again, guys, I'm not going to tell you a million things that's going to improve your arm strength. If you go to the YouTube search and just type in first down training arm strength, we have tons of videos talking about how you can increase your arm strength. But if you're trying to manage the arm strength that you got, you feel like you're underthrowing deep throws, there's 2 things I want you to focus on. Quick drop, put some air on it. So like if I got a receiver on the left running a fade, and let's say I'm a QB who can only throw it 30 yards, that's completely fine. But what you have to get comfortable with is, okay, set, go, drop, pitch, up and down. Like that's how fast you got to get it out. And if you do that and you put the ball on a line, receiver's not going to get there. Now you got the opposite problem. You're overthrowing it, right? So when you hitch up to your throw, you got to get a little bit of tilt of your shoulders. You got to snap your release up high, like you're grabbing something out of the cookie jar. That's what I always say. And give that thing some air. Let your receiver go run it down. Throw it to a spot. You can only throw it 30 yards. Throw it to the 30 with enough air to where the receiver could go chase it down. Yes, your arm strength needs to improve. But if you're trying to manage with the arm strength that you got, you're struggling to throw to receivers, that's all I need you to focus on.